Hi, this is Sandy Diana, and I am the owner of So Sandy Creates. I'm going to show you some embroidery basics using the Brother PE800.
Types of stabilizers. She's still over there on the phone. Hold on.
She's trying to delete. You just talk to me.
All right. So these are different types of stabilizer which you need to put on the back side. You can buy them pre-cut in squares already. I like to buy them in pre-cut squares. And this is what they look like in pre-cut squares. They're already cut to fit my frame because I have a 4x4 and I use this. But I will also use those on the 5x7.
Did you get those on Amazon also?
I did. I got those on Amazon. But this one is what is called tear away. And so you rip it off of the back of your project when you're done. And this is what they call cutaway. And you will actually have to cut it off of your, and this one's going to give you more stability, and it depends on how much stability, that's why it's called stabilizer, how stable you need to keep your thing. I think for us, we're going to use this one, the cutaway, so that it will, because it'll wash up better, and we'll just, all you do is cut it all off around the,
and it'll stay on the back.
And it'll stay on the back. So the first thing you do is, and when you're using thick material, this is what I learned. The thick material won't go in the hoop. So you can't put this, I mean, it's a lot of struggle trying to put something thick. A t-shirt will go in the hoop, but something thick is really hard to try to hoop this and your stabilizer all together. So what I've learned is that I can pin whatever I'm doing in place.
Oh, okay.
That's the reason why I got all this gunky stuff all over it, because I have spray adhesive that I will spray down on my the back of whatever my garment is, or either on my stabilizer, and it kind of keeps it from moving all around.
Oh, okay.
But you can pin it just the same. So I'm going to show you. You want to cut your stabilizer.
And I've got big scissors over there for you.
Oh, good. And your stabilizer doesn't really have to be so much bigger than your hoop, but it does need to go in enough to where it will have an overhang. So I'm going to just cut my stabilizer.
Do I have good scissors?
You have some good scissors.
They might
find their way back in my box. Just kidding. Just kidding. Okay, so your stabilizer is going to go here, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Now, the frames are pretty smart too. Did you notice that it won't go that way because it won't fit?
Oh, it only goes one way.
It only goes one way. So you've got to put your stabilizer into your hoop. And now you see why I'm telling you that it probably is going to be a hard time trying to put that apron in here also, because of the thickness of the fabric.
Oh, I see.
So that's in there, and you want this pretty good and taut, but and then you tighten it down. But there's only so much room that it can go in. So that's what I learned, was to stop trying to hoop really thick things into my hoop, because it's not going to go. It's on, and I mean, you just about kill your hands to try to get it in there.
So you pin it in.
So you pin it in. Remember that
Let's
thing?
pull that sticker off. You don't want that sewing in. Not that you're going to go that high, but
off.
oh, okay.
Yeah, it won't come up.
There it is. This one's on, but that one should peel off.
It's not coming off.
Okay.
Here, let me see if I can get it off.
It's got some good glue on it.
Yeah, well, that identifies our plant when they bring it back each
Right,
week.
when they wash them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It's on there. They don't want it to come off in the wash.
That's right.
Well,
Lord.
It's
Oh,
good.
well. It's
good.
okay.
It's not going to be in my way.
I thought it was just a sticker. I didn't know it was a permanent sticker.
All right, this also only fits on one way. Same thing as a hoop. So you've got these little slits right here when you get this, and this helps you find your center point when you're trying to.
oh, okay.
So these little places right here, you stick your pin in, and you make little dots on your stabilizer.
So you embroider straight.
So your embroidery is hopefully on there straight. And sometimes I've been crooked. But, you know, it's a learning curve also. but then you can pick this back up and you move this off and you have some guide points as far as where your items are going to be located on here.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So then you turn around and you try to find your center point. Now we don't have an iron, but the way I was taught was that if you fold your item in half and you press the seam.
You should be able to do it, finger press it.
Yeah, you should be able to. You can finger press it, but if you match up your sides, then you're going to. You can either use an iron or finger press it so that you can get kind of like a crease as to where your center point is. Now, the other part is that you want to determine how far down do you want it. See, I even still have that crease right there. Mm-hmm. How far down do you want your writing to go? Do you want it
right in there?
Right in there. So then I'm going to fold it again. And put another, and that way I've got that cross mark. So there's my plus mark right there. And that I'm just gonna, just so that I can see it, we'll put that right there. And that's gonna go right where my dot is. Now remember, you've got it hooped, you've got to hoop it sideways. And I probably should have turned it the other direction, but.
Can you rotate it?
I should be able to. Yep. Okay. Perfect. So the hoop's going to go in. So this is the other tricky part. So there's the part that's got to clip in there. So the apron is going to go on this direction now onto your hoop. Okay. So I'm going to find my dot. And you know those hair claws? Those are really good for like rolling up your stuff to where you keep the bulkiness out of the way. But so I've got this. I want this just so that I can make sure I've got my center point before I lay it down flat. And this is where your sticky spray, when you get that spray adhesive to use, and you can buy that at Walmart too. They sell that at Walmart.
Spray adhesive.
Spray adhesive. And I'm just going to put that right there right now. That's not straight, but I got to get it lined up. So I don't really. You probably are going to want a bigger table to work off of.
Okay.
Okay. But remember that fold that I made right there? I want to keep that fold as nice and straight. And you can see it's pretty close to being centered, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to work over here and put me a pin out of my sewing area, because you don't want to have that in your sewing area. Pin that right there. Get it tighter. Try not to scrape your table. Okay, so that's one pin. Then I want it nice and tight over here. Make sure I'm still lined up. And I am. What I found is that you do need to pin it all the way around, and you just kind of like push it down with your finger to where it goes down into the frame, and I pin all around the edges.
So the pins won't be in the way when...
No, they are not in your sewing area at all.
Okay.
If it were, it won't even sew that close to the frame.
Okay.
But the more you have pinned, the less it's going to shift and less it's going to move. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And I'm just like tracing where the frame is.
She's just going to love it.
I will tell you that early on, because I messed up so many different projects, I learned that there's something called a stitch eraser.
It's $20-some, but it's worth buying.
It's actually not $20-some. It's like $70.
Oh, I thought you told me it was 20-something.
No. It's like $70, but it was the best $70 I ever spent. So if you really, really mess up your garment or your item that you're working on, the stitch eraser can like shave. It's like a shaver, but it shaves off the stitches off of the back side.
Seam ripper.
And then you get it off of it. But sometimes if you cut too close, you can also cut your garment. So you always do it from the back side.
We did that.
We've done that too. So now I'm just going to come back over here and just get a couple extras in here for insurance. These are some sharp pins. I've poked myself a couple times now. All right.
You want me to have good pins.
You got them.
All this prep work takes a lot more time than the actual embroidery.
Yes.
This is what all the time
I will
is
tell you
invested
that
in.
my machine, there's some things I'm going to tell you about the machine before we actually get it going. And there's a reason why. It's because my machine, I have to babysit it because it will get jammed and if it misses a stitch, they do have some ways for you to go back and fix it. Or if you've run out of bobbin. So you always want to make sure you start with a fully wound bobbin, especially if you're going to do a large project, because you don't want to run the bobbin because this is going to be underneath your frame in just a minute. And you're not going to be able to access it any longer after you will have to take out the bobbin and you can risk like your lineup and stuff and it might not be as good. But so then I'm going to put this into the machine. And this is where I was saying that if you had some claws, like those hair claws that people put their hair up with, because this is a lot of bulk and you don't really want it.
Like clips of some kind?
Yeah, like hair
Kind of like
clip.
a hair clip.
Let's see what I can find, honey.
And I'm just going to roll it up like that for right now. Or even clothespins.
Rubber bands. Can't rubber bands go at each end?
Yep, it can.
Can you use like something like this?
Chip
Yep.
clip?
Probably. Yep.
And then this one on this side?
And that's perfect. Because you don't want it to come undone while you're trying to, because it's going to do a lot of moving and shifting around.
Will that work?
Yep, that'll work. That's perfect. Okay, good job. Okay, so now you're going to put your hoop into your machine. And there's these little things right here. And this little thing right here bends. And that will help you just pull it back when you get ready to seat it into it. So this got like little slots. It's pretty self-explanatory. Mine is...
Okay, do you need to worry about this?
Yeah, I'm sure I'll pull that over here.
Wait a minute.
What's wrong?
I'm like confused all of a sudden.
Well, yours is different.
Yeah. Where is your hoop? Oh.
You might not be able to use this
I
hoop.
might not be able to use that hoop because your hoop sits in there.
Mine drops down on the slot.
And mine doesn't. Mine has the slots on the machine. Well, this might not work then. So I might not be able to do that hoop. That means we're going to have to go back smaller because it's not going to fit in this area.
What size was it? It was not quite 5 inches.
Well, it will
And
tell
less
you
than
whether
2.
It will tell you whether or not it can go into the hooping area. So let me now I got to undo all. I'm glad I looked at that. Oh,
So
I
it
wonder
won't work
why.
on that one at all?
No.
So I have to be careful when I order one.
You got to make sure that the slots look like this on the one that you order.
Yeah. Because that one,
See, this one is what mine fits in.
So that one has the knobs on there where yours
doesn't
has it
have
on
this.
the hoop.
So, all right, so let's just undo. You're going to want to get this to where it's nice and flat so it'll slide up underneath your embroidery foot. And I'm not sure if you can get a good angle on that. And then you come over here and you put these in line with your little clips, get them on the little post. And that's when you push this back and it just drops right in. And you want it to clip, and it did. So it's clipped in place. It's not going to come back up. So this part right here where our clips, where those clips were, we want to make sure that bulk's not riding all around. And you want to have everything all clear.
but I didn't order any more of those hoops because I wanted to wait till you came to see what I needed.
There. I'm gonna
Well,
put it
now
right
it's a
here.
good thing because you know you have to have some that have a special
Yeah.
the clips to match your machine.
Okay.
I could have
So-
ordered the wrong thing.
Yeah. Well, I brought the wrong thing. All right, so now we're going to have to go back over here and go back with our resizing.
We'll see if it'll do it.
It won't because it's bigger than the frame.
Take
The
your
frame
center.
is only
Take your center.
your frame is only a 4x4, so I know it won't work.
Oh, it looks 4x6 to me. That's bigger than 4x4.
Well, let's do, okay, so we can test it. So what you do is you go back over here, back to this screen right here, and this, to the, right here, this little button right here will frame it out. Well, great. All right, so
It says it's going to do it?
it will fit it, but we've got to move it a little bit. So let me go back up here, and you can move your needle to the center point. I took my center point out too soon.
Oh, sorry.
All right, that looks like where this center point was. I'm gonna stand over it just to make sure. Okay, that looks like where the center point is. And now you check where it's gonna sew again, your sewing area, and you push that button, and it should work.
Those pins at the other end look like they're in the way now.
They might be. So let's see if I can scoot them down a little bit.
That's slick, ain't it, one?
Mm-hmm.
So you think I need to sew on the table in the dining room in there that Donna made, right?
Yeah, you have a lot more space, because here you don't have any, like, arm room to maneuver your stuff.
That
Okay.
one's spread out.
All right, let's try it again. Okay, it looks like I got all the heads out of the way.
Okay.
All right, so now it's not going to do a thing until you put your presser foot down. So you've got a little lever right back here. I'll put my hand the other way. And did you see how the light turned green?
Oh, yeah.
So as soon as it turns green, you push the green.
Green means
and
go.
Green means go. Now, this one little tracer thread, I will tell you that I like to stop my machine after it gets the first few stitches in, and I like to clip it, because otherwise it's going to be a hot mess and it's going to be underneath all of your threading, and I don't like that. So I'm going to start the machine. Hold it out of the play, and then we'll stop it, and I'm going to clip it, because now you know it's not going to come out any further, and then you start it back again.
Okay, we're not sure if we have to babysit yours yet. Yours might be better than Sandra's other one.
Because you have to babysit mine. And if all of a sudden you start, yeah, it's looking beautiful. And if it all of a sudden starts acting up and you start hearing something funny, push that green button and it will stop it right where it is. It'll stop it right where it is.
Okay.
Okay? And then once you get it situated and fixed, then you start it back up again. But it sounds good.
That's a pretty color.
It is
It
beautiful.
is pretty. She's gonna love it.
All right, I'm going to pause it because we don't need to watch
We don't need to watch. Done, and it stops, and it'll tell you when it's finished. And you're going to come back over here, and you will take it, go in reverse, taking it out of. You push that little lever, and see it'll start going faster when it gets to a certain point too. And if it looks like it's going to skip stitches, it's smart enough to know when it has to skip the stitches, because it's going to come back over in that spot. So it stopped it and it moved it, but it's all programmed into the machine exactly what to do, and you shouldn't have to think about it. But when it's all done, you're going to want to get this off of here. So you've got to come back, and they call jump stitches. So that right there is like a jump stitch, but you'll have those jump stitches where it goes between the letter, and you'll need to clip those as close to possible between each letter to clean it up, is basically what you're doing. You do it on the front and on the back. And then after you've done that, then you go and you trim this, because this is cutaway. Trim it like in a circle around where or an oval shape, just
Around
leaving
Bella.
enough of the backing just around Bella.
and throw the rest away.
Right, throw the rest away.
Basically, you'll have a white patch on the back of the apron that'll stay there. It'll wash up. It'll just always be there.
So this is your maiden voyage on the machine, and hopefully you'll be able to look at the videos if you forget something, because it's a lot to remember. I had to do all of this all by myself and learn it, and a lot of trial and error. So I've thrown away a lot of things.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It is beautiful, and sounds like it sews very nicely.
Yeah.
There is
And
one
nice
part
and
I
smooth.
didn't get to show you, and there is a place in here where I can't show you now, but I can show you later. We can do FaceTime later, and I'll show you. But there's a place where if it starts skipping stitches, like if the bobbin gets jammed or something like that, and the machine kept going a little bit further than what it was supposed to before it stopped, there's a place where you can back it up, and you can back it back up to where the part where it stopped, and it'll go back and keep stitching. So that's on another
pretty
screen.
big?
It is
It is a
beautiful.
beautiful bee.
Wow.
Now,
Okay, we got to go because we're supposed to be there.
Right.
So have you told her everything she needs to know for?
right, so there's the jump stitch that I was talking about. So it's now going to start the E, and you have a jump stitch, and that's what you're going to want to trim.
Okay, so I'll trim that off.
Mhm.
That's
Trim that
after
off.
you take the whole thing
whole thing
out.
out.
You'll trim it up.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Okay, so I'm going to call, you're going to let Anella know you're on the way.
Yes.